everyone. Before we'll start, I would like to ask you to give us a little confirmation via chat that you can see us and hear us correctly, and we'll start then. Okay, I have the confirmation. So I'm glad that you decided to join our session today. My name is Wojciech Wencel, and I'm CEO of summ-it. summ-it delivers data solutions, including database service management and data analytics and software development. And today I have a great pleasure to lead the debate about sustainability growth in organizations. We will discuss about new technologies, including machine learning and prescriptive analytics, which support the sustainability growth. Together with me, I have three fantastic experts from global organizations, Julie, Karol, and Paweł. And by next 1 hour, we'll explore this topic for you. Nonetheless, before we'll start, please let me mention that on the right side, you have the chat window. And if you will have any questions via this debate, you can put them and ask these questions in the private chat. At the end of this session, I'm going to pick up 1 or 2 questions and we'll ask our experts to answer on them. So please take the chance. So dear guests, Julie, Paul, and Karol, would you like to introduce yourself and let your attendees know who you are, from what organizations you are, what background you are representing, to give us a little bit overview what kind of perspective you are going to present.
Hi, everybody. I'm Julie Huxley-Jones. I lead technology for our scientists at GSK, which is a global pharmaceutical company dedicated to the development of new medicines and vaccines with an ambition to serve 2.5 billion patients around the world. I'm joining you from our fantastic office in Poznan and looking forward to seeing you all in person at the event later.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Paul, would you like to, or Karol, would you like to start right now?
So I can go second.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Yeah, it's a great pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to having a discussion with such a great experts, obviously. My name is Karol Jaroszewski, and I'm representing Visa. My role here is a head of data science lab for the Central Eastern Europe. I'm working for Visa over 5 years, and I have created the data science lab in this region, which I'm managing from the very beginning. So I'm representing 16 years of the experience in the financial sector. Before Visa, I was working 12 years in the banking sector, when I was creating and implementing some database solutions. So together with my team, we are creating a machine learning models, but also doing some advanced analytics to help ourselves and our partners to make better decisions. So yeah, I'm supporting modern techniques of the data use, especially in areas of the model buildings and propensity testing and prediction. I'm a data enthusiast, so for as long as I can remember. So yeah, this is all about me.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Paweł, last but not least.
Yes, hello, and I'm Paweł Wróblewski. I'm leading a data practice in Poland for Tietoevry. Tietoevry is the biggest IT service company in the Nordics, meaning Sweden, Norway, and Finland. And majority of our work is to deliver to big Nordic customers, and our job is to make sure the data-related services are running well. But these services are very wide, have had a wide range of, because we can deliver also like data warehousing services with reporting and visualization of the data, but also IoT, also machine learning and AI for certain applications, and a lot more. In general, I'm very fascinated about the merging like two worlds of the data, structured and unstructured content, into one holistic view on what we call sometimes connected data. So we would like really to understand the whole landscape of the information, regardless its form of storage or how is it written. That's basically it. And we are opening an office in Poznań also, so looking forward to it.
Great, thank you for the introduction. And from an organization perspective, I wanted to only remind that this is a debate. So if you would like to challenge yourself a bit or even argue, please do not hesitate to do it, okay? So let's focus on the goal right now. And first of all, let's define the keyword, sustainability growth. I predict that every organization can understand it in a bit different way. And can adjust it in strategy in a bit different approach. So what your customers can gain from the sustainability growth in your organization. You will be able to provide even some examples how your organization and technology is supporting the sustainability growth and how you understand this. So maybe Julie, you will be able to start.
Sure, very happy to. Thanks for letting me kick it off. I think sustainability in terms of how we look at data analytics and technology per se can be tackled in many different ways. For me, let's take the very big level and say, let's start with actual environmental sustainability to start off with. One of the biggest things that we can do as an industry is move to having sustainable data centers and cloud structures, because it still reminds me that 8% of the world's energy consumption is predicted to be coming from data centers by the end of this decade, which is an incredible amount. So we have a duty to society to make sure that we sustainably store our data, but also run our algorithms, which are getting more and more energy consuming in an environmentally sustainable way. At GSK, we're fully committed to our cloud migration and are working with commercial cloud partners on migrating to their systems, which are 100% sustainable, and looking at where we can deploy very creative edge strategies to make sure that where we do have on-premise high-performance computing and algorithms and data types that are just simply too big to store or to get onto the cloud quickly, thinking that the speed of light is now a problem for me, that we do that in an environmentally sustainable way. But I also think we could look at sustainability in terms of the sustainability of our technologies that we're using, how quickly our world is evolving in terms of methodologies and algorithms. Are we building them for the future, or are we building them for now? And I'm sure my colleagues would probably build on that. So perhaps I'll defer to Karol to continue.
Thank you, Julie. So how Visa understands the sustainability? So I would like to touch few points from the company perspective, from the corporation perspective, from the product perspective, but also from the consumer perspective. So first of all, Visa continues its effort to minimize the environmental impact on its operations by constantly inspiring and promoting sustainable lifestyle trend and consumption. I just wanted to mention that in 2020, we achieved the carbon neutrality in operations and switched to 100 renewable electricity. So this is all about those data centers and headquarters. And we also committed to achieving the net zero carbon by 2040, which is still 10 years ahead of the date by the Paris Agreement. Yeah, as I mentioned also about the partnerships, and here as example, I just wanted to flag our partnerships with the Ecolytic. So this is the company that enables customers to assess their carbon footprint by showing the environmental impact of their purchasing decisions. So I think this is quite important here. How Visa together with Ecolytic can offer the service to partners and other financial institutions. The other aspect, I mentioned the product, and here we are contributing to promotion the alternative payment card materials. We still need to remember that we have a card, which is the product, and we want to reduce the environmental footprint associations to the manufacturers of the PVC. presence in cars. So this is also quite important. And final, the consumer. So we support the activities to promote the sustainable behavior in everyday life, such as the transportation. So currently we are working with the more than 400 public transit operators just to stimulate also the transit. So yeah, this is how we see it. So I can right now go give a floor to Paweł.
Okay, thank you. When I was thinking about that, it came to my mind like 3 areas or 3 basic verticals that we are working with, and 3 examples of what can we do about it. So let me mention the first one. The very hot topic in the industry is energy saving right now, and we are delivering and we are developing solutions that really help our companies achieve that with industrial IoT platforms, which means we are able to connect to the sensors on the factories and in production plants, take the data from very low level on all these machineries, and then process it in the cloud and make accurate reporting and analytics over it, and in favor of reducing the energy. So how to tune the factory to save energy, and that's very hot topic, and companies really investing a lot in that. The other thing that we are doing is also the, I would say, it's a hypothesis that probably not all the data should be processed. I mean, we should process only this kind of data which is really meaningful, and this is like a big question mark. Like, for example, if we talk to our customers in telecommunications, so with the 5G and 6G now protocols that are coming in, there's a lot of data exchanged between systems, and we think maybe not necessarily. Maybe some of the data is not so much relevant, and the question mark is really how to distinguish and how to categorize the data for further processing, or maybe some of the data should not be processed at all, or should even not be produced. And this kind of consulting we are doing, and there's a big topic of edge computing on, for example, if we talk about big 5G like transmitters, to make some edge processing on top of that, and really categorize the data and move away things that are not necessary, to save some things, so to save storage, to save energy, to save many things in terms of sustainability also. And then the third topic that comes to my mind from the industries we are in is consumer electronics, because we do also some software development for a lot of stuff, headphones, and many other electronics in automotive sector as well. And every device now pretends to be smart, which means it has some code inside, sometimes even AI and programmable chips. And the code quality of that is very crucial. And even if we are talking about even a few cycles of processor per like a simple program, it might be meaningful having the like millions and billions of devices running that code many times every day, and it translates to severe savings in terms of our environment. So that's like 3 examples, but there are many more, and I can tell you that this topic is like on top of the agendas to many companies. It's not only about saving the money, which is also, but it's also about saving our environment too.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I see that you have very similar view, especially in the energy area, but I see also a bit different in the rest of them. So maybe you would like to comment somehow your views and the previous speakers.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with what Paweł and Karol have said. And I think to bring this to life in the life sciences and healthcare industry, we're investing very heavily in the creation of digital twins. in terms of our manufacturing process. Obviously, the manufacture of medicines and vaccines is an intensive process. We want to completely reduce waste. Pawe's absolutely right, both from a cost optimization, but also an environmental perspective. And we use our insights from data to make sure that we use as green a chemistry as possible. Also, we're looking at leveraging this from sustainable packaging, designing sustainable packaging, and designing sustainable supply chains. Where can we use our analytics approaches to perform remote clinical trials or optimize how and when patients receive medicines during a clinical trial so they get the right amount of medicine that they need? And knowing also how we ensure we leverage data, what Paweł mentioned, is also very important. Just for example, in GSK, this year, this first quarter, we generated more data in research than the cumulative history of 300 years of GSK put together. We make petabytes of data every quarter. We have to be really thoughtful when every single cell image of a cell is 4 terabytes an image, that we don't create a bigger problem than we currently have. So we're being very intentional about our metadata on our annotation of the data so that when we do build algorithms, we're intentional with how that data is used. So both in the generation of data, the storage of data, the reuse of data in predictive analytics, we can flow that intentionality around sustainability in there and get the benefits output in terms of sustainability and how we twinerize our processes.
Okay, thanks for that. So as you can see, as we can see, you are gathering a lot of data, and I'm wondering what you are omitting and what you would like to delete from this group, and what you think that this is unnecessary, but maybe we will discuss about it a bit later, because I wanted to mention that such organizations like you, very mature and following by data, can be called as a data-driven. And my question is, can you please tell us how you are implementing the data-driven culture in your organization, and how this approach support the sustainability growth? And possibly you will tell us, are you implementing any models to predict or optimize some production processes, or maybe you will be able to provide some other aspects how the business analytics in this area can support the sustainability growth?
So this time I can go first,
Okay.
if you don't mind. Yeah, so this is a big area, and I fully agree that we should focus on, on those data elements that are worth, processing. And we are living in the world which is, full of a big data. So it's a I think quite important topic to make the smart decisions and smart focuses. And yeah, what we try to do and how we try to use our data, for our consumers in a good will, is that we try to find environmentally friendly solutions. So this is what we try to do. And obviously we can calculate the carbon footprint based on the, we can see transactions. So this is also a part of the life. So we see some pieces of some parts of the life. We can just calculate the footprint, but we can also try to offset this this environmental impact. What I mean is we can work with the partners to try to use that knowledge to plant the trees or other green investments, just to use this knowledge. And also we can try to build some kind of the incentive system, like facilitate the behavior change, because we can see it. We can see how we are changing. I mentioned the transit and then public transport. So we can see some signals. So obviously we can facilitate this behavior change. Yeah, this is how we try to use, but in general we try to use the modern techniques and artificial intelligence and machine learning in all areas we are working as a company. So we are talking about sustainability here, but we are the payment company, so we also try to use the advanced techniques to improve our authorization systems, like just to minimize number of frauds. So this is important aspect of our business. So I just wanted to highlight this. But yeah, obviously today the sustainability is the focus.
Okay, Paweł, maybe you would like to take a voice now.
Yes, maybe just a few examples again from our customers now, maybe more concrete, because we've been working with city of Gothenburg, Sweden, and the problem was how to distribute or where to place the electric charging stations for the cars, because in Sweden there are more electric cars than in Poland right now, and they have a problem where to place them, and they wanted to do it just like thinking where it should be, but we challenged them a little bit. Maybe we'll use like open data for using that, because we have information from the municipality, the data which is actually there about the, for example, density of inhabitants, where people live, where they commute, about traffic. We have information about the public transportation, where are the hubs of public transportation and things like that. We got a lot of data coming from the municipality, and we try to analyze them to place the charging stations accordingly to have the most gains, and we set up a several goals, and the algorithms went really well, and some of the locations were surprising for the people. So it's like a really maybe a data-driven shift. So now it's more algorithms that support our decision making in our daily life here and there. And the other maybe a little bit maybe funny example is then also the city of Gothenburg, the municipality asked us to optimize the routes of garbage trucks. Because they see that maybe there are some wastes there, and maybe if we analyze a little bit more, because they have all these GPS signals from all the trucks, so they tracked in real time. So we had precise data about what they do and where they are. But apparently, our conclusion was that the routes really doesn't matter, mainly because they stay idle so much time in this garbage hubs, or how do you call it? So reloading these garbage trucks and staying idle is like so much time that it's optimizing that. Probably the number of garbage trucks is too big or something like that, rather than the routes itself. So sometimes we can come to conclusions that problems that we are trying to solve, looking at the data, maybe are not the correct ones, and we should redefine a little bit the problem to find really accurate solutions, and much better than we thought it could be, but based on the data analytics, but not just on very, I would say, basic human reasoning.
I love that example. That's great, and I absolutely love what you're bringing up there, Paweł, which is also being unstructured in terms of our curiosity of algorithms as well, not just doing pre-priors and creating curiosity. I think in the pharmaceutical industry, we have the privilege of being a data-generated company. Essentially, our first product is a package of data to a regulator that provides the evidence that we think this medicine or vaccine is going to work, and gives us the permission to then launch it onto the market. And so data is kind of inherently a huge amount of what we do, and that is a great privilege to start from. I think what data we keep is incredibly contextual, but one of the challenges in the scientific space, which I have the privilege to lead, is actually we don't know what we might need in the future. We're discovering every single day new ways to combine new insights and make new predictions. And one of the challenges is that simply sometimes we wished we'd have gone back in time 5 years and captured the data in a slightly different way. So a lot of the time it's about continually asking ourselves, how might we use that data? How could we codify that data to make it even more usable in the future, particularly when we're generating so much and from so many different types, from chemical structures to cellular images to sequences of text to free text, etc. In terms of the examples, though, a couple to think about. So one of the big problems that we have in the life sciences industry is the easy stuff has been done. So we're working in a general industry failure rate of 90% of the ideas that start don't get to a patient. So we have to be really, really good at reducing down the attrition and increasing the probability of success of designing a medicine that is going to work. And when it takes on average still 8 years to take an idea to market, the more we can do to reduce the time and increase the confidence that that's going to work, the better we can serve patients. So some of the things that we apply our algorithms to are things like trying to explore all possible diseases and mine all genetic information around the world, genomics, patient information, sequencing information, to find the accurate combination that gives us a good hypothesis to start developing a medicine or vaccine to. A second one is if we're developing a chemical medicine, what we call a small molecule, a tablet, as you and I would know, mining about 3 million different parameters of all possible chemical space and say, let's design a molecule that fits this lock with this key from all those possible parameters and reduce those parameters down so that we start developing a chemical that has a good chance of working in the future. Or using prior-based models to use our insights across the industry. And this is an example where the industry share data to look at whether that potential medicine is predicted to be safe and efficacious through industry-wide models like Derek, which help us predict toxicity so that we don't take molecules further forward that are, or we take time to redesign those molecules to make sure that they remove those potentially toxic moieties in before we start developing testing routes in cells before we get anywhere near humans.
That's interesting. Jens, maybe you would like to comment it somehow.
So I just wanted to refer maybe to what Paweł said before about the garbage truck. And I think that Julie also, you just touched this data sharing. So I just wanted to highlight that, yeah, in general, I think that sharing data and connecting data from the completely different angles and sectors, like we are representing different segments. So I really enjoy that discussion because I see that the sustainability is the focus, but we look on this, I think, from the different angle, and it's super interesting. But coming back to the point about the data sharing, I think that data sharing is a very important element when we look into the future. And like some time ago, I even had some discussion if this is worth to share data between the public sector, private, with also the science, I mean the universities. And I think it all makes sense because checking it from the different angles and connecting different perspectives can make just models the more accurate. And when we share data, for example, this garbage truck example, and also doing the reference to visa transactions, obviously we see some movements and some signals. So we can just try to use that with the public sector just to minimize and to optimize some pollution, public transport. This garbage truck can also be adjusted to this route to minimize, you know, the emission of the CO2. So I just wanted to make this point because I think looking into the future and how the sustainability and data using that, yeah, it's from my perspective quite important one.
I'd like to build on this, and I'm going to use the garbage analogy. Certainly in our world, a good algorithm is based on the quality of data you have, right? Otherwise it's garbage in, garbage out. And so you have to have really good quality data. I think science certainly is an area where we innately share data. There's a huge raft of public data sets, and it's changed, at least in my experience in the last 15 years of the pharmaceutical industry, how we are competitive. So when I started, there was a real desire to build our own data sets, and every company was doing the same. And actually, there's now much more desire to share data sets, particularly where it is pre-competitive, like in the definition of a safety. And the competitivity is the speed to create an intelligent decision from that open, non-competitive data. So it's not just garbage in, garbage out. It's much better data in, quickest insight out. And I'm seeing, therefore, as we work in the industry, a stronger desire for much smarter algorithms and predictive analytics and AI/ML to inform the next best decision. And that is what's competitive now, the speed to get to that accurate decision.
Yes, maybe I can build on that further, because when we talk to our customers, probably not all of them are so mature with data standards, maybe like GSK or Visa. We say that sometimes they have very high ambitions, starting from the very beginning. We would like to make AI-based decision making and things like that. But when you look at the data, it's like it's a garbage areas. So at first we advise them we need to start really from the basics. We sometimes say no AI without IA, which means no artificial intelligence without information architecture, which means sometimes we need to really understand the data, clean it up. Sometimes we need to refine it, and I would say, and it's good sometimes because it makes our business much bigger, because like a huge amount of hours our consultants spend really on these ETL processes, on data lakes, on things like that. So it's for creating all these data platforms, these data ops. This is like a huge topic which needs to be done, because otherwise no algorithm will be reliable. And yeah, maybe I can stop here.
But let me also continue, because my next question was exactly related to this. I wanted to discuss with you about challenges, especially in the technology area, including machine learning and prescriptive analytics, but maybe something different as well. So what kind of challenges you see in scope of the such big volume data implementation in your business? And maybe this is a scale, maybe this is a quality, as you mentioned, or maybe something different, and how these technologies can be used to solve these issues which you can see in your organization.
So I'd start with the data standards. So yes, there's a privilege in the industry that we like to share data, and we do have some amazing industry-wide, life sciences-wide data standards, but also we still have many challenges. Every time a new piece of equipment comes out, someone's probably thought of their own data standard to how to capture that information, and we have to undo that learning. So one of my big challenges is we have 5,000 different types of equipment in our labs around the world. We need to flow and connect that data together. So ontologies become incredibly important, not only for our descriptions of diseases, but also simply how we capture lab information and manufacturing information. And standards like SATA, industry-wide manufacturing standards, are very, very important to our industry. One of the big challenges in specifically the scientific part of GSK is what IBM used to call one of the big 5 Vs, which is validity. So we might not be dealing as much with the velocity of maybe Karol's world, but science regularly changes its mind. Quite rightly, we learn something new when we disprove what we learned before. That's what we call the null hypothesis. We challenge ourselves. Once upon a time, we all thought the world was flat. it's not. So we're continually learning as we build models and algorithms and we aggregate data. We have to be able to articulate what was true and what is now no longer true, and almost prune that out or annotate that in our data sets so we don't repeat mistakes that we tried before. So validity is a challenge, and variability is a massive challenge, both mostly in data type. How do you link images to unstructured data? And how do you do that in a world of jargon? So I love algorithms that tell me, what was the weather like in the Big Apple on Obama's birthday, but can an algorithm tell me what the difference is between PGP alpha and PGP beta? Well, one, if you modulate it, no drug can get into the cell. The other one, if you modulate it, doesn't really do anything. But unless that speciality knowledge is baked into that algorithm, the answer would be, well, the difference is alpha versus beta, right? So one of our challenges, how do we bake all that SME knowledge into our algorithms?
Thank you. That was very interesting. And how it looks like in Tieto or Visa?
So so the big data itself is a challenge because it's growing quite fast and globally, worldwide. And all about that techniques also you Julie just mentioned. This is also a challenge, to find the right approach. This is I think one of the biggest question, but also from our perspective, from Visa perspective, the security is one of the most important aspects. So what I mean is that this is a kind of the big responsibility to have all that data, and we are the stewards of the user data, and we should try to use the data, especially in the secure way. So security is the priority for us and for our consumers, so they feel safe, and the control. So they should be aware how we are using that data, and they should have a control what we can do. So from the future aspects of what potentially what we can do using all that data, I think the consumer is very, very important here, and of course the value, because we should be focused only on those areas and all that models that make sense, because we shouldn't waste the time. We have a lot of ideas, all of us, I think, but I think this is a matter of defining the good balance. What is worth trying, one of the examples, because sometimes we need to find how we can find the way, and here I think that the open banking is one of those, because the API based open banking is one of those examples when there is a way to find the better way to address the growing demands of the consumers. So this is all about, and but from the other perspective is also to make sure that they are fully aware what third parties have access to the data and how they are using that. So I think that the open banking from our perspective is one of those examples that we can try to find a way to combine data in the goodwill to address the needs better.
Okay, thank you, Karol. And maybe Paweł, you would like to comment this somehow.
Yes, but I have also another challenge, and because it hasn't been mentioned, but our challenge is also to have experts in that domain, and the pool of talents that is required to really run these sophisticated algorithms. It's not an easy thing, and we all compete for the best talents in the market, and I think this is going to continue. All the reports say that future is that we'll be lacking this kind of people, and it's important maybe to remind ourselves, or maybe to tell our children to learn math a lot and really graduate in data science or similar things, because we really need those people in the future a lot, and we'll be relying on them also a lot. So that's one challenge that is ahead of us, and another is as usual. You can see data. There's also a topic, I'm not sure what's your opinion about the synthetic data. So about generate, if we're lacking good enough or big enough data to train our models to prepare artificially the data sets which they are used for the training. There are different opinions about that, but maybe it's sometimes we use it, sometimes we don't, depending on the use case. However, I can see that the technology is there. I mean, the tools are there. So, but we just need to use them and have the data, and then we can make a lot of things if we have those two.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely. And we are talking about the top technology and about predictive some things based on the data. So I wanted to ask you another question regarding to the future. How you see the future in the prescriptive analytics, in general in data analytics, from your business perspective, and what are limits for that, and what more we can do with data, or maybe and from the technology perspective, but also from regulations and or maybe from ethical perspective. What kind of future you see in this?
Oh, there's so many places to go. I'm genuinely really excited because I think we're in the middle of the fifth industrial revolution, where we're generating the data, and innovation is going to come to create directionality that we never knew possible. I think in my world, already our scientists are being augmented with predictive analytics. It's augmenting their decisions. It's helping them maximize just the sheer amount of data that is generated and make sense of it all. I think the next step is that prescriptive next best action insight. And I can see that already coming. It's something that we're considering in certain parts of GSK already. And I think the challenges with some of the data that I mentioned earlier is where we really want to go further. So we truly free the hands of our scientists and really release their minds to think of the really complex things that could not be thought of before. So I am genuinely excited about what the future holds. And we're seeing lots of people now start to employ these really translational skills. They're great math skills to some of the biggest challenges in society. How do we cure cancer? How do we solve global warming? I think a lot of that is going to come by maximizing the insights from data that we create. So we just have to set people at the problem and then go for it.
Okay, thank you. That's very interesting. Jens, what about you?
Yeah, so obviously the future is bright. I would say. I think it's the data is a future. I think there all insights coming from it, right use of a data. I think we are living in a very interesting time, and also the new professions are coming. So this is what Paweł just mentioned. So we need more and more data engineers. We need more and more data scientists because data is everywhere. So this is one of the challenges. Also, how to find this good balance. But yeah, the future is bright. But obviously, looking into the future, we need to remember that we need to do that ethically, and we need to remember about being transparent, just being fair, and do it in the secure way. So once we take care of this, I think we can try to link the data from the different angles. We can share data between the different areas, just in the goodwill. So not only the private sector can have some benefits of the data, but also the public one, also the science, and yeah. So I think this is about the future. But we need to remember to do it with the respect of the consumer.
Okay. And Paweł, what about you?
Yeah, so when I'm thinking about the future, I have some mixed feelings sometimes. But first of all, I have I've read some reports also about that, like quantum computing. This is like the probably next big topic that is ahead of us. IBM is experimenting with the first devices, first processors based on quantum computing technologies, and if we learn this technology in a few years' time, it's going to be another revolution when it comes to processing power. So we'll be even more and more powerful. We'll be able to really to make even deeper neural networks and make it even more, I would say, human-like reasoning things that are in the market, like GPT-3 now is very much like general intelligence projects that is being created at the moment, which is both interesting and also scary a little bit. So, for example, if I hear Julie saying that we would like to analyze the genomics of the whole mankind, yes, it's a interesting, but sometimes I'm not sure where we're going sometimes. Yes, with this, I know that they are starting up the regulations at this moment that make some pauses on that, like EU AI Act that has been recently announced. It tries to categorize the algorithms on three categories: the most risky ones, which are like a risk to the people. So the example that was presented was this indexation system in China, when people are indexed against the government rules and they have benefits if they score more points, or they have several disadvantages if they are low in the points. So this is not going to happen in EU at least, and these kind of systems should be banned. And some other systems, they should be analyzed more and have some careful ethical even audits, how they impact the people. So and also in the USA there are new regulations about that. And I think, but in general, I think that it's more opportunities than risks, which means that I think technology will evolve whether we like it or not. But it's up to us how we use it, and if we pose on ourselves regulations that will help, will sometimes protect ourselves from the bad effects of what we're doing.
I'd like to build on that, and I also noticed there's a question that came in from Andre as well on this. I think it's really important that we have responsible AI, and that comes from both from really high quality data going into it, but I agree. I'm seeing a big rise in ethical AI and the regulations required to make sure that we do no harm. Right, that is literally our intent. We should be using our technological savviness and the brilliance of the people around us to benefit society. That's what it should be all about. I do think also I'm seeing a change in that a truth-seeking culture is coming out as people are seeing the power of AI to predict and disseminate information. And so in addition to the plea earlier to make sure our next generation really knows its maths, I think also we need to make sure that people are really resonating with their reasoning, their logical reasoning, their educational reasoning, to learn to question what they're seeing, so that complements what I hope to see much more ethical AI in society.
Okay. Because we are in the technology conference and majority of our attendees focus on the technology, I wanted to recap a little bit the discussion. So at the beginning, we defined this sustainability growth, what that does mean for us and for our organizations. And we also mentioned about different technologies which support this. But if I would like to ask you to just pick up and tell us about one technology which support in your organization the sustainability grow in the best way, what it will be, to give us a chance to understand the direction of your companies. If you don't mind, just tell us about just one technology which is the most important for your organization in this area?
Okay, so maybe I can start. It's very hard to have one because there are many, but I can say where the investment goes at this moment. Maybe it says something. So our investment also goes to this industrial IoT. So we are trying now to help really big players in the production, in the global players in the production, to really support their efforts to perform better productions in operations and in sustainability, in energy and things like that. And it starts from the data, and it starts from every single device that can be connected, and all this data can be gathered, processed, analyzed, and then we can make algorithms and reasoning based on that. And that's what we'd like to do.
Okay, thank you, Paweł. How it looks like in Visa?
I think I touched this topic some time ago during that discussion, but from our perspective, doing some environmentally friendly solutions, this is our focus. How we can use transactions we see to calculate this CO2 emission and maybe try to offset this. And this is for the consumers. This is for the environment. We can also try to educate the consumers. If how much CO2 they are just producing and what they can do to minimize this. So in that direction, I think this is one of our focuses.
Okay, thanks, Karol. And how about it in GSK?
So I think for us, from my perspective, one of the biggest things we can do is literally cloud, right? To shift from data centers that consume energy onto cloud or data centers that run 100% sustainable. And then beyond that, the implementation of some of the approaches that Paweł mentioned to help us optimize and make sure we produce golden batches of our medicines.
Okay, thank you. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to pick up one question to our special guests. And the question is directly to Karol, but maybe Paul and Julie also will be able to add something in this. So Karol, there is a question about payments, about product payments, like software based on point of sales. Is this gonna to be eliminated, the need of the separate special payment device, and this get us rid of a whole lot of plastic from the business, like mobile wallets, start to eliminate a need for plastic payments card? What does the data shows on the adoption of such products?
Thank you for raising this question. And by the way, this is a very good question. And to be honest, right now we don't need the physical card just to do the payment. And obviously, we are more and more going into the direction that we will not need any POS devices at all. This is what is right now. What we are implementing right now as a Visa. So what I mean is that the tokenization of the card, which is going from the plastic card just to the mobile device, is quite a standard. So in the Central Eastern Europe, we see that consumers are right now more and more using just the smartphone and smartwatch to do the transactions, not the physical card. And I think this is a trend. The same with the devices. We have a soft POSes and mobile POSes. Like you can just install the application on your mobile phone, and if you are just a small entity, you have some classes with some students, and you would like to get some payments, you don't need to get any terminal. You just do that on your mobile. So this is the directions, and obviously we are trying to support that trend because it make the payment ecosystem more convenient for the consumers, but also it's more sustainable, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Maybe again funny example based on that, because some time ago in Sweden they have also they were considering removing the ATMs from the street because everything is so much. But then after some data analytics, again, they discovered that there is a group who uses ATMs very frequently, and they are teenagers. So they need to really hide their expenses sometimes so they are very much on cash. But that's
So also the network is very important here. So we can just use mobile phones, for example, in Poland for the payment, because we have a 100% of the network which is contactless ready. So you can do the contactless transactions everywhere. It was not the case some time ago. The same with the ATM. So if we still need to take some cash in for some purposes, we try to make sure that you can use your mobile to take this cash. So contactless is also a service for the ATM. So you don't have to put your physical card to the ATM just to take a cash.
Okay. I see that we have other questions, but only 3 minutes left. So maybe let me do a quick recap. So thank you, my special guests. Thank you, Julie, Paul, and Karol, for the fantastic and inspiring discussion. Thank you for the all input and that you share how you see the sustainability grow and the technology, the future technology which can support this sustainability grow. And thank you all attendees. Let me also mention that if you have questions, if you have some doubts, or if you would like to continue a discussion in these topics, we are going to be in the after party afternoon, so you can meet us there, take a cup of beer or something other with us, and just talk. So if you'd like to ask some questions or continue the discussion, see you in the after party. So thank you for attention and thank you for this discussion, dear guests.